what's happening? What's going on? Part of my presence YouTube channel. Let's talk about the Will Smith situation. We all heard about the entanglement that Jada Pinkett had. That's how she coined it with one of those R&B singers. I forget the guy's name right now. They'll come back to me later on. August Alsina, that's the name. Now, when that whole story broke out, she downplayed her involvement with another man that she brought into the fold that was apparently her son's friend. So it's a younger man that she brought into the fold, and it blew up in all their faces because August Alsina used it as a means to promote his album. So it was really an embarrassment to all of them, but more importantly to Will, because Will is the husband that's getting cheated on by a man that was brought into his house. Okay, and then they had that red table talk situation, and that's what she said. They were used the words entanglement. She downplayed her involvement in it, her predatory acts with a younger man that was sick, that she was nursing back to health. In that interview as well, I believe Will Smith did allude to him having some extramarital affairs as well too, but nothing was ever revealed. He didn't mention anyone's names. It was kept low key. But the one thing that everybody took away from that is the fact that Will Smith looked to be very affected by what Jada Pinkett did. Yet he remained in the marriage through thick and thin. As they both said, bad boys for life, bad marriage for life. So they seem to have no problem with it. So fast forward a year or 2 years later, now Will Smith is coming out with this whole story, like he's trying to get his groove back by saying that, you know, he's had a lot of different girls. He thought about 20 girls, a harem of women. He name drops Halle Berry, name drops Misty Copeland, which I didn't know who Misty Copeland was. I looked her up. She's some type of high professional dancer. She looks good as well too. So I'm not mad by the names that he dropped. But when you read the article, I think it's in the GQ interview, when you read the article, one thing that you notice is that he's not actually saying that he's been with those women. He's not actually saying that he had an affair with those women. What he said was that he played it out with an intimacy coach. That what if I had thoughts? Let's play out this idea in my head that I have with running around with an entourage of 20 women and seeing how I could achieve that while remaining in the marriage, and how it would feel to have 20 women or a woman like Halle Berry or Misty Copeland, and how I could kind of maneuver within my marriage by having these women all around me. And then I guess they played it out. They did a mock trial. An intimacy coach pretty much let Will know that, hey, it's not going to work out. It'll be against your Christian beliefs, so on and so forth. Now, let's back it up a little bit. Number one, I did say intimacy coach. Now, what 53-year-old man needs an intimacy coach? I've heard of a therapist. I heard of a psychiatrist, a psychologist, but an intimacy coach seems a little bit interesting, to say the least. What problem does he have with intimacy? Because what he's describing is something that's to do with infidelity and whether or not that will corrupt his marriage, right? But the thing is, if his wife is already stepping out of the marriage, then you only have two options. One is to deal with it and kind of work some new agreement where you guys are both in an open relationship, or you gotta find a way to stimulate your wife so that she no longer has to look outside of the marriage. And this is what I want to come down to, because Will Smith is a guy who is a A-list movie star. He's someone who's considered to be, well, at some point in time, a sex symbol, very famous, very rich, high profile, successful in many fields, acting, music, you can even say social media star as well too. So he had all of these avenues, a lot of influence, someone that I guess you could consider or categorize as a high value man, and yet his behavior is a little bit funny. I've never seen or heard of a man who's that much of a catch allow his wife to be banged out by a younger guy in his home. I've never heard of a man saying, he said this in an interview, that that the whole traditional marriage is something that my wife wasn't too keen on. So in other words, he just admitted that the open relationship thing was his wife's idea. And then on top of that, his wife always talks about Tupac every year, every interview, always alludes to Tupac being the love of her life. Now, granted, Tupac is dead, so there's no chance of Jada Pinkett, run off with Tupac. But at the same time, Tupac is dead. He's been dead for more than 20 years? At what point in time do you let a dead man rest and focus on your husband and finding ways to be intimate with your husband and finding ways where you could actually build back the romance so that you and your husband are a fine-tuned husband and wife combination? But apparently that doesn't seem to be her focus. Her focus seems to be on other men. Now, again, as I said, there could only be a few reasons why that would be. Because a man in that position wouldn't allow his wife to embarrass him like that. A man in that position wouldn't agree to have his wife play the open market in the open field. And the other thing as well too, he alludes to his Christian beliefs and how he's afraid of sin or he's conflicted about the sin. But this is Will Smith's second marriage. He was married to his first wife. He has a son with his first wife. And he left his first wife. So miss me with that whole Christianity shit, because you've already broken that bond. You've already broken that sin, that agreement with, or that covenant with God. Right? You're no longer perfect. You have sinned already. So if it means sinning again, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And of course, as far as child support and legal battles and issues, look, other people have dealt with it already. You wouldn't have to pay child support because the kids are grown. The alimony shouldn't be that high. And again, maybe you can find happiness in being alone, where you can run off with these 20 harems of women and do what you want to do because you have no attachments at that point in time. So again, the way how Will Smith is moving, he's moving like someone who has a scarcity mindset, someone who doesn't understand his value, someone that doesn't realize that he is a catch. And it makes you wonder, how can a man in that type of position have such a low stature in his relationship? How is a man that gets 20 million a film and commands respect within Hollywood, how is it that that man is getting shitted on by his wife, who's openly parading around with another man in their home? It really makes black men look bad at some point, because you gotta think about what we consider as one of the top premier representations of us in media. Will Smith is one of them, and this is how he's behaving. I don't see Brad Pitt behaving this way. I don't see George Clooney behaving this way. I don't see any other racial counterpart that behaves this way. If they find out that there's infidelity, they leave. If his wife, Jada Pinkett, feels that Will Smith was cheating, she probably would have left. But why did she stay? Now, I'm not going to keep alluding to it, but this is my personal opinion. This is what I think. I think it is very possible that the reason why these two can continue to stay together and have this open marriage, it's not for the kids because the kids are grown. It's not for money because they're both rich and they're both well off. And it's not to put up this image because they've already kind of tainted their image with these public transgressions. So the only thing that would make sense as to why Will Smith is okay with his wife being banged out, the reason why Will Smith is contemplating, thinking about being with other women with an intimacy coach, it's more than likely because Will Smith probably likes men. And he can't come out, probably because of his Christian beliefs and everything else, that he probably can't come out and say that publicly. And he probably has to do these things under the table. And Jada probably understood that he has these needs or desires, and she loves him as a person, is not going to leave him knowing that she could be his cover. And while he goes out and he does his own things with the people and the gender that he wants to do things with, Jada has free reign to go and do whatever she wants and looking for love with other men. That's actually more logical as to what's happening here with this Hollywood power couple. It would make a lot of sense. It would also explain why Will Smith is okay with all these things from happening and why he's not looking to divorce, because this is the perfect arrangement. In Hollywood, you look like the ideal heterosexual couple, and you still are able to live your life behind closed doors and go off with the men of your choice for both of them. Right? Because I don't see how a heterosexual man in a position like Will Smith, as far as his fame, his talent, his money, the power that he has, would allow his wife to be with another man unless he had no sexual attachment to his wife, because he likes other men himself. He doesn't like his wife in that way. He doesn't have a sexual desire towards his wife. And it makes sense why his wife would be fine with him going elsewhere outside of the marriage, because she doesn't have any sexual desire for him. Because she realizes that Will Smith is for the other team, so I need to get my needs and my rocks off from somewhere else. And that's what I think is going on in this situation. That's the only thing that makes sense, because everything else doesn't add up. But again, this is all gossip. I'm talking out of my ass in most of these things. It's all hypothetical. I don't have any proof. This is all allegedly. Alleged. Please don't sue me. Please don't ban me. Any of those things. I'm just throwing it out there. You let me know if it makes any sense. Is there some merit in what I said? Does it make you think about these things? One thing about me that I know is that if I had all that money and all that power, and I'm someone who could probably get any other woman, I would not put up with a woman that's stepping out of the marriage. I would leave her. I would pay the alimony that I need to pay, and I'll go off with another woman who meets my needs. And my kids are grown and they're doing their own thing, so there'll be no guilt on my end. And because I've already had my first marriage that I blew up, there'll be no religious guilt whatsoever. And I would live my life as happily as possible. And I wouldn't consider it as a prison like Will Smith considers it, because I would leave. So the fact that they're willing to stay and have an open marriage, it says a lot about a few things. But that's my take, part of my presence. Let me know how you feel. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that like button. Until next time, next move, best move. Peace.